Good morning, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I'm really delighted to welcome Alexis Boyett, and she's actually currently living in Portugal, and she talks about how to build brands, characters, and culture that spark connection. She has a background in performance, and she's a creative entrepreneur, she's a speaker, and really happy to have her on to discuss her work and how she's impacting lives. So, Alexis, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. And briefly introduce yourself because it looks like you've done a lot of things within the creative entrepreneurial performance space and how you got to be doing what you're doing.
Oh, yes. It is a very long story, but I will keep it short. So, I have been in love with characters ever since I was a little girl. And growing up, I never really realized that I could make that into a profession and into a career. It wasn't until my mid 20s that I started working in character entertainment. And when I character entertainment, because I just want to go ahead and clear that up. A lot of people don't really understand what I'm saying when I say character entertainment. I mean everything magical from wizards to princesses to superheroes to fairies to Santa Claus, all of the magic. That's where I am. Okay. So I realized that characters were so much more than entertainment, they were so much more than a photo opportunity. I am very much so fascinated by the psychology between how humans interact with characters and the impact that makes on their lives, everywhere from childhood into adulthood to business. And for me, life is play, and business is something to be enjoyed. And through character entertainment, I'm able to create businesses that impact millions of people. And I've done that with a couple different ways. I have a global business school dedicated to helping character professionals around the world build sustainable, reputable businesses and become successful business owners. And I also have another company called the Company with Character, where we specialize in bringing character experiences to corporate workspaces, helping people reconnect with their inner children, and also creating custom characters for businesses. And I'm in the most magical industry ever, and it has its own nuances, but I am a professional princess. If we would have put it plain and simple, I am a real life professional princess.
Interesting. Yeah. And I know we see some of the most iconic brands. I think Disney is probably the one that stands out this over the last century or and one thing is in this day and age when people come to you, are they coming and you mentioned all of your endeavors, education, coaching, do they hire you for performances or for to appear on their shows? What do people come to you for and seek help from you?
Yeah, so they used to. I used to be professionally, I was Cinderella because I used to imitate Cinderella and the infamous Ice Queen, and that's how I got my start. But in the past 5 years, 5 to 7 years, I have really earned my place as a coach and thought leader in our industry. And so nobody hires me for performances anymore. They only hire me for guidance, support, and community. And I help performers basically bridge the gap. Through the Company with Character, we have a holiday cheer calendar. And I've worked with Santa Claus. He's amazing. His name's Santa Stewart. And we've created a program that is essentially an advent calendar for corporate clients where we have different themes and activations every day. So, as an example, Santa Claus loses the naughty or nice list, and it's a snowpocalypse, and everybody in the company has to basically play whose line is it anyway, and they choose a character to portray. And Santa has created these amazing, because also Santa's a video editor, because we're not just characters, we do many things. And he's created these incredible intro and outro videos that are adult focused and corporate humor. And so it's just a really fun way to get adults to play again. And so for me, it's really about bringing character experiences into all facets. And just recently, I was hired to create a character for One Simple Wish, which is a foundation that specializes in helping children who are in the foster care system, helping their wishes come true. And so I've created an entire character world for them based off of their founding story and their mission statement. And so, yeah, I'm the character queen. I'm the queen of character beyond just being a performer.
Interesting. Continuing on the conversation, I was talking with another guest, and especially in this day and age, because Netflix, we got Netflix, and I think Disney has been really, really good at rebranding itself, getting into streaming and partnering with Marvel and all of these other. And then we recently saw the actor strikes in Los Angeles. And how important is a skill set that you are using and also giving back in this day and age where we now may be competing with AI avatars and we maybe have AI celebrities? And how do you keep that brand story intact to avoid getting intermediated by technology?
Absolutely. Great question. Because I believe that being replaced by AI is a fear that many people have. However, you can never replace the human connection. And now I say that as someone who uses ChatGPT as a therapist, okay? Like, I appreciate ChatGPT in all of its many forms and use it daily, okay? And I'm not going to bash AI in any way because I'm a huge fan of it. But I believe that we can work with AI. And so what I've been doing is I'm working with AI and saying, hey, like, this is my idea for this character world. And this is this character. And I get to know someone's heart and why they're doing what they're doing and the impact that they want to make and the way that they want their customers to feel before I ever introduce AI. And I don't go into AI and I say, these are all the nuances of what this client's told me, create a character. No, I use my personal experience in working in character entertainment, the understanding that I have been able to experience, the experience that I've been able to harness watching people interact with characters. Because depending on, and I'll go ahead and redirect this question back to you, was there a specific character that you admired growing up? And if so, what character was it? Doesn't have to be a superhero, doesn't have to be a princess, could be literally any character.
Interesting. I think I got asked this question. I always resonated with Batman, and just because he's like this secret billionaire, and then he's doing justice for the world, and he's gone through some ups and downs. So I always resonate with that character.
Yeah, and he's so cool. And he's the coolest. He has a bat cave and he has all these cool tech things. So I'm assuming you're a tech guy. I'm assuming you're really interested in tech.
Yeah.
Yep. Amazing. So it's really interesting to me though, because just as you started talking about your fascination with Batman, I saw like you lit up, like you were so excited to share this with me. And I got to see the little version of you. And it's funny because I guarantee you that in your life, that symbolism that Batman was for you as a child was that not only could you relate to him because you saw his story, you saw that he experienced hardship and that he overcame stuff, but that he didn't allow it to harden him in regards to he didn't become a villain because of it. He became an advocate for helping people who couldn't help themselves. And yes, while the gadgets and everything are cool, I guarantee you that there is some part of you in your life that you're exhibiting right now that is dedicated to helping people who can't help themselves in some way or another.
Really fascinating. Yeah, that's why I did this podcast, is to share with initially it started with the doctor community, but now it's expanded and we showcase fantastic guests such as yourself and spreading these ideas out so people can play around with it and reinvent themselves. Another question I have for you is a lot of performers and a lot of creative entrepreneurs, they reinvented how they distribute after COVID. And before that, it was like all in person. And now it's remote. You can Zoom, StreamYard, with now gaming, like virtual reality, augmented reality. How is what you're doing positioning yourself in different mediums and forms?
Absolutely. So essentially my cheer calendar that I created, it's a digital program. And so many people, because Santa Stewart is incredible. He's professional Santa. He's 30 years old, even though he looks ancient. And he's also a professional video editor. So everything that he created it just looks AI. It looks so perfect. But I had him create a video talking about how he's not AI and showing people the set that he's created and how it's set up in one of his children's bedrooms. And he talks about his love for Santa. And I believe that the way that we integrate AI, so like my cheer calendar, I used AI to create all of the certifications for anybody who wins the game or the activity or the challenge for the cheer calendar, right? So I used AI to create those because it was so simple and so easy, and AI knew exactly what I needed for it to do. I used AI to help me create the layout for the PDF download to explain the challenge to someone. I did not use AI to create the activities or the challenges or the games themselves. I used my experience working with people to know the types of games and activities that would light them up, because I created an entire list of 15, and then I actually had ChatGPT create an entire list of 15 using its knowledge. And the games that it created, the activities that it created were very generic. They'd been done before. Nothing was unique. Nothing was like that creative. And I realized that AI was very beneficial in some ways for the project, but not beneficial in other ways. Like the fact that Santa Stewart became Santa because his dad used to dress up as Santa Claus when he was a kid, and he lost his dad as a young age. And whenever he grew up, he tried to recreate that experience with Santa Claus, and every single Santa he met just let him down, which made him want to become that version of Santa that his dad created for him when he was a kid. And now he's that Santa for thousands of people, and now he's that Santa for our holiday cheer calendar for corporate offices all around the world. And so AI will never be able to replicate the human story. And similar to Batman, him overcoming those challenges, people resonate with the underdogs. People resonate with the people who turn their struggles into something beautiful and to want to help the world through those struggles. And so I do believe that AI definitely has a part in creating things and making things beautiful, but I don't think that AI will ever be able to replicate a company who's truly showing up authentically and delivering their brand messaging with heart and with care and with relatability.
And along those lines, because for example, I look at children and just animals, dogs, and they're present and they're full of love and laughter. And I was thinking to myself the other day, as we age, we become hardened, and especially with corporate culture, we have to be politically correct. You cannot say and do certain things. But then how do you do what you do, where you incorporate storytelling and play, and you balance creativity with this more logical, analytical strategy in business?
To be honest, I've taken tons of courses. I've hired coaches to teach me all the nuances of knowing the analytics and how many email campaigns to send and how to word things. And I will tell you this, the only time that my sales have been their lowest, that my happiness has been its lowest, was when I was chasing a specific outcome.
Mhm.
And anytime that I find myself chasing a specific outcome, I realize that I'm not in alignment with the reason that I am doing this business to begin with. And the way that I rebalance and refocus my priorities is I say, what can I work on today that would bring me excitement? How can I connect with even one of my students or even one of the corporate clients that I'm working for in order to ensure that we are having a pure and true human connection, that I am reaching out to them from a place of wanting to give rather than wanting to receive and wanting to really connect. And so I believe that the psychology and the strategy is so important. But I can talk character psychology all day, every day, but I believe that there's never going to be a deeper or more meaningful way of making an impact in the world rather than that I would say that competes with understanding your own heart, understanding your own mission, the type of contribution you want to make, and then the most playful and fun and exciting way that you can make that contribution and connect with others. So for me, it's all about play. And I think that everybody should just play more in business and be more excited. Remember why you did this. It wasn't just to get paid, okay? If it was just to get paid, then you're just trying to fill a need because you have this lack and scarcity. And we have to address that because Batman doesn't have that. So, like, how can you just bring more joy and play into what you're doing? And how can you connect with people and not look at them as a number or a customer, but rather as like a friend and someone that you genuinely want to build this connection with?
Yeah, really interesting. And then also, what I really love about brands and storytelling, for example, like Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman, it's talking about this hero's journey, and you incorporate talking about reinventing yourself after everything falls apart, and hitting rock bottom and how to rebuild from it. So expand on that, how you incorporate that in your daily work.
Oh, tell people that I've had the perfect amount of trauma. I say that because I had just the perfect amount of trauma in every single area of my life in order to be able to relate to as many people as I can in order to make the type of impact that I've wanted to make. So I have hit rock bottom multiple times in many different areas of my life. And it always came from the root of not feeling good enough and not feeling worthy and feeling like I needed to prove myself or become someone else or do something differently in order to receive love and acceptance. And it took years of unpacking that. And how do we unpack that? Because what's going to happen is challenges are going to keep showing up, being like, hey, are you going to handle this differently? Hey, do you see how this is triggering you? How are you going to show up next time? And recognizing, oh, wait, okay, I'm stuck in a pattern here. This seems to be a repeating trend, like me over giving and under receiving. Why am I feeling the need to put myself in these relationships and do these types of things? And I've had betrayals, I've had heartbreaks, just like anybody else. But the thing is, I'm not afraid to talk about them because I don't view them as a weakness. I view them as character building parts of my journey. You think about it, I always like to refer to life as a video game, right? So let's say you start out as you're player one and you start out with no XP, right? You got all the basic armor on. You only have a little hatchet. It can't do any damage. And you're just getting murdered left and right by every bandit that goes by because you have no care. Like your character isn't developed. You have no XP. But then you have to go through all these difficult challenges in order for you to level up, in order for you to get better armor, in order for you to get better skills. And you have to make connections, you have to meet the right people, and you have to keep showing up and defeating every single boss that you come into contact with. Because you can't get to level 50 and then decide you're going to settle down in the village with the NPC peasants. That's not how you win the game. You have to keep trying, and sometimes you're going to fall off the mountain, and sometimes you're going to miss a save point, and you're going to have to circle back, you're going to have to do it again. But I think that as long as you remember that the only challenge you will ever have to overcome is the challenge of yourself and the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself and unpacking your stuff and climbing every mountain, defeating every boss, and not seeing anything outside of you as separate from you. So if you're playing the game and somebody comes into your realm, your village, whatever, and they irritate you or annoy you, then it's a really good opportunity for you to be like, okay, what am I doing right now that is attracting this type of stuff into my energy? And how do I want to deal with it in a way that I haven't dealt with it before? How does the level 100 version of me handle this situation compared to the level 7 I am now? And how can I course correct in order to get me on the right path? And characters, they intrigue me. I can find so many different relatable factors between characters and video games, and I feel like they're all basically an expression of life. So yeah, just keep defeating those bosses and keep overcoming them. And I've experienced the darkest of dark, and because of that, I am the brightest light that I can be. I still have bad days, of course, like everybody else, but I refuse to stay at level 40. I'm going to keep going and going to keep crafting that armor and becoming stronger. And then the bosses that I had at level 30 won't bother me at level 40 anymore. It'll be like nothing.
Yeah. I love how you analogize Ready Player One. And then what really spoke to me is what are you doing? What are you doing and thinking to attract those specific situations, circumstances, people into your lives? So how do you stay aligned with your values and energy, and how do you stay aligned, and how do you repel the bad energy, or is it more of a energy management tactic and strategy?
Yeah, great question. I am not a toxic positivity person. I am very nuanced. I have good days, I have bad days, I have sad moments, I have happy moments. But something that I started doing this year is I started to realize, okay, remember how we talked about player one? Okay, so I like to remember that I am not only player one, I am also my character. And that might blow your mind a little bit, so stay with me, okay? So my character is Alexis. And Alexis was formed through her upbringing, through society, through her experiences, her fears, her beliefs. That's my avatar. My character is Alexis. But player one is the version of me who gets to control Alexis. I can look at Alexis's patterns. I can look at what she continues, I can look at her behaviors and I can say, okay, she keeps doing this behavior and it's gotten her this result. So
Yes.
we need to change her behavior and we need to do this if we want a different result. And so I can look at things then objectively, which means when things come into my environment and they trigger Alexis, because let's say Alexis has a past history of people underappreciating her or taking advantage of her or manipulating her. When someone comes into Alexis's life and who tries to manipulate her or gaslight her or anything,
Mm.
Alexis might originally feel triggered, right? My character was like, oh my God, here it goes again. Oh no. And then it'll start going into that fear based processing. And I'm going to feel like Alexis is going to feel like she's going to need to protect herself. And instead of me trying to protect myself, I can say, no, wait, like Alexis is level 50 now. She doesn't get triggered anymore because I'm player one. So I'm going to choose not to allow Alexis to get triggered. And I'm going to choose to instead say, okay, this person's obviously trying to trigger Alexis. So how would she have acted from her place of triggering? Whereas how's she going to act as the hero that she is? Instead of the victim, let's act as the hero. And as the hero, I say, okay, I can understand that this person's trying to irritate the crap out of me. Instead of me taking it personally, I'm just going to say, oh, I actually see that for what it is because Alexis has learned the pattern of that behavior. And I'm just going to choose not to entertain it or have it in my life. It's not necessarily about me course correcting my character because Alexis, my character, is doing nothing wrong by being triggered. She's not doing anything wrong by having feelings of anger or upsetness or sadness about the situation. I should let her have those feelings. And if I try to prevent her from having those feelings, it's going to be all hell breaks loose because she's a complicated human. All right. And I'm not going to try and control her, but I can control how she responds and reacts. I can control how she interacts with other characters in the game, but I can't control the fact that she's going to feel a certain way. I can just choose to not over identify with it.
Fascinating. Really interesting. How can people connect with you and reach out to you, check out your resources and work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. They can find me on my website, which is alexisboyett.com. That's Alexis, B as in boy, OYETT.com. And on there, I have all my projects and I have my email and you can reach me. And yeah, that's basically how you find me. I have 4 other websites, but alexisboyett.com is like the main one.
Yeah, excellent. I really enjoyed this conversation and I really love the work that you're doing. And thanks so much for coming on and keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you and I'm proud of you, Batman. You're welcome.